I'm Tony Robinson. Welcome to Wrestling with the Big One. Over the last few weeks, we've been looking at some of the parables of Jesus. And this is the countryside in which so many of those stories were set, the Judean hills. Over there's Bethlehem. That's the outskirts of Jerusalem. And beyond it is the new Palestinian territory of Jericho. It's beautiful, isn't it? Little wonder that, like so many Jews over the centuries, Jesus felt so passionately about this land. It comes up time and time again in his stories, a sense of wilderness, of beauty. Take his story about the lost sheep. It's obviously about the nature of God's love, but it's about this landscape too. Which of you, Jesus asked, if you've got 100 sheep and you lose one, doesn't leave the other 99 in the wilderness and go looking for the one that's lost until he finds it? And once he's got it again, he carries it back home on his shoulders, rejoicing. And when he got home, he phoned all his mates and said, "Hey, I found my lost sheep. Let's have a party."
No, sorry.
What do you mean, no, sorry?
All this tosh about the landscape. It's cobblers. Just another cutesy little story like Bambi or something. And stop groping that sheep, will you? You look like a children's television presenter.
It's not cutesy at all, Blake. It's about love.
Oh, yeah. Why don't you play the Carpenter's Greatest Hits as the soundtrack?
I mean real love. Look at those hills. They're dangerous places. People carry guns up there. They have done for thousands of years.
They didn't have guns up
You know what I mean. The shepherds up there are tough guys. This isn't some stupid, soft-centered sob story. The shepherd who found his sheep had risked his life. Jesus' audience would have understood that.
Jesus' listeners would have been asleep by now. Look. What's that?
I don't know, an ancient dog track?
No, it's a flipping great bathhouse, isn't it? Look at those bricks. You don't get many of them to the hod, do you? Now, do you think this place was built by happy, smiling volunteers whose sole aim in life was to give their masters a nice place to splash about and play with their rubber ducks?
Blakey, you're not getting wound up again, are you?
Come in here.
You'll bring your asthma on, you know.
Come on. What's this?
A waste bin?
This is what they call monumental architecture, Tone. It's what the ruling class knock up when they want to scare the manure out of the locals. So have you got any idea what it's doing here?
Of course I do.
Is it Aztec, do you reckon? Is it Viking, maybe? Or is it the crumbling remains of the very first IBM building?
I hope you brought your inhaler.
Did the Israeli tourist board stick it here so there'd be loads of lovely ruins for the punters to come and look at?
Of course not.
It's Roman, Tone. Roman, Roman, Roman.
I know.
This place was occupied. Thousands and thousands of big macho soldiers with swords and spears and state-of-the-art torture equipment marched into this beautiful little landscape of yours. And what happened if you tried to argue with them? What happened if you said, "Excuse me, officer, but just because you come from the most powerful country in the ancient world, that doesn't mean you can come tramping all over my desert with your big boots and your big baths and your Coca-Cola machines."
They didn't have Coca-Cola machines, Blakey.
They flattened you, Tone, that's what happened. As far as the Romans were concerned, the dollar ruled.
It was the denarius, actually.
What were they after? New markets, slave labour, and the biggest empire in the universe. And did Jesus have anything to say about that? I don't think so, Tone.
Well, yes, actually.
Don't interrupt! The entire Jewish economy was shot to pieces, right? They'd had redundancies, they'd had layoffs, and what do they call it nowadays? Restructuring. That's where everyone takes a pay cut, except the boss, who gets a big pay rise. And in the middle of all this agony and turmoil, what does Jesus come up with? Some bar black sheep nonsense. I think that one's eating your shirt, by the way.
Blakey.
He was a collaborator, your Jesus. All right? His country was in ruins. All his countrymen were on the unemployment line, and he kept completely stum about it.
He didn't.
Yes, he did.
He didn't.
He did.
Matthew 20, verses 1 to 15.
What's that? The parable of the unemployment check?
Yes.
Oh, and Jesus did say there was a certain man who went to his unemployment office and did fill out the form marked UB40. And thereafter, every 2 weeks, he did receive 5 shekels and a stale loaf of bread. And the Romans did say, "You try living on that, chummy." Yeah, that's very right on. Very subversive.
He was, actually. Come on.
Well, where are we going?
Watford Dole Office.
I haven't got to sign on till next Wednesday.
I bet you've got wheezy. You always get wheezy when you go on like this.
I can't go in there with a tan. They'll know I've been abroad.
You haven't got a tan. Listen, you wanted a parable about unemployment? Well, this is it, right? In Jesus' time, Palestine had been parcelled up into massive estates by the Romans and the rich local collaborators.
Yeah, I know.
In other words, you've got this bunch of millionaire absentee landlords who spend most of their time jet-setting around the ancient world. And the local people who work for them didn't have any job security, right? There'd be masses of unemployed people hanging around all day in the market square or whatever, waiting to see if they get picked for a job, just like your Uncle Mick used to down the London docks.
Oh, right. Can we go now?
No, we're going to do the story first. So, the foreman of one of these big places rides into town. It's all there in the Gospel of Matthew, right? And it's very early in the morning, about 5 o'clock, and all the unemployed are waiting to see if they're going to get a job. That hat's no good. Try this one. And the bloke says, come on, get up, get up. Oh, you're never going to get a job if you look like that. Put a comb through your hair, blow your nose.
What, is this an executive job?
No, you are going to be labouring on my governor's estate.
Well, how much do I get?
£20 for the day. Off you go. Then, about 9 o'clock in the morning, the foreman comes back again because he's looking for some more blokes. Hello, I'm looking for more blokes.
Will I do?
Yeah, off you go. And then, about midday, the old foreman comes back again. Anyone want a job?
Oh, yes, sir.
Right, go on in. And about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he comes back again. Who wants a job?
Me, sir.
Right, off you go. And all these blokes are labouring away. They're plucking the grapes off the grape trees and they're chucking them into the buckets and they're taking off their shoes and socks and squidging them with their feet. Hello? What's up with you?
No one hired me. I'm waiting for my mates to come back.
Well, do you want a job?
Oh, it's 5 o'clock. Neighbours is on in a minute.
Are you going to waste your whole life watching soaps?
I was thinking of it, yeah.
Come on, there's still an hour left.
All right. Tape Neighbours for me, will ya?
So, for the last hour, all these blokes are squidging away at the old grapes. Then, come 6 o'clock, they all wash their feet, put their shoes and socks back on and get into a line so that they can pick up their money. And the bloke who started at 5 o'clock in the afternoon got £20.
Thank you very much.
And the one who started at 3 o'clock in the afternoon got £20.
Sir.
And the one who started at midday got £20.
Cheers, boss.
And the one who started at 9 o'clock in the morning got £20.
Thanks.
And the one who started at 5 o'clock in the morning got a grand total of £20.
Sir, hang about. That's not fair.
What's not fair?
Well, how come the bloke who started at 5 o'clock got £20, I slog me guts out all day, and I only get the same money as him?
Oh, I offered you £20 this morning, didn't I?
Yeah.
So what's your problem? Are you jealous or something? It's my money, I can do what I like with it, can't I? Anyway, I like that other bloke. He's a really decent sort. Go and get him for me, will you?
All right.
Hello, what's up?
They forgot to tape Neighbours.
Is that a problem?
I really love my neighbours.
What, that much?
I love my neighbours as myself.
Well, you should be all right then, shouldn't you?
And that's it, is it?
That's what?
The end of the parable.
Yeah, well, the neighbour's joke wasn't in the original. But...
What, Jesus was more of a home and away man, was he?
Yeah, I reckon.
It's a funny old parable, isn't it?
It is a bit weird, isn't it?
So what's it mean?
What?
Now, hang on a minute. Let's get out of here first. This place gives me the creeps.
What? Does it remind you a bit of hard work?
Are you saying I'm work shy?
Perish the thought.
So what's it all about then? This parable and that?
It's a bit weird, isn't it? Seems so unfair.
Well, too right. I mean, I'm with the bloke who'd worked all day. It seems like he got ripped off.
Yeah, well, I reckon what Jesus was saying was that anyone's welcome in the kingdom of God, no matter what they've done. But just because you've been good all your life doesn't mean that you're going to get a bigger welcome than someone who's been good for just 5 minutes. Which isn't something that the religious high-ups would have particularly enjoyed hearing, I think.
Too right. So, the Archbishop of Canterbury is going to be last in the queue for the Kingdom of God, and the Pope, and Billy Graham. But a bloke like me will just sail up, join the front of the queue, and God will say, well, pleased you could make it. Have another cheesy football, mate.
Well, I don't think that Billy Graham would agree with your interpretation, but if that's what you think, fair enough.
It's nice to know. Should we knock it on here for today?
Yeah, why not?
Catch a few rays. It's better than working, eh? Not that I mind a
No,
bit.
of course not. Chuck us that Jackie Collins, will you? Oh, by the way, if Billy Graham's listening, there are many leading theologians who wouldn't agree with Blakey's analysis, so don't lose any sleep, will you? On the other hand, of course, he could be right. See you next week.
I'll do my back, will you?
Do it yourself.